Good morning, everyone. It's Dawn here on hashtag Wisdom Weaver Wednesday. So this is number 2. We've been having some technical difficulties here with my guest who said she has a snowstorm. So what I want to talk about as I'm waiting to bring her on is the awakened woman. I want to begin talking about what life may look like and how does that fit into your everyday life. You know, I really believe that we're all in this process of awakening, of blossoming, and everyone is going at their own speed. Everyone is going, on their own path, and everyone's path is completely unique to your life path. Not anyone is cut from the same cloth. And I feel it's important to recognize that and understand that. And that is why I want to do these Wisdom Weaver Wednesdays, is I want to have conversations with men and women, just like I was on the phone. And I've had that opportunity to have amazing conversations with men and women in my life. And I always would say, I wish other people could hear this conversation, because I feel like it could benefit other people, so that people don't feel alone, so that when you're going through something, you understand that, we all have the ups and downs, and this is how we weave our wisdom together. So that is my whole purpose of doing this show and being in this space to gather all of us together. So like I said, there's been a little bit of technical difficulties here with bringing Nancy on. So I met Nancy quite a few years ago, and here she is. Okay, so I'm bringing her on. And when we met, I knew instantly, there you are, that we were going to have a connection for a long time. So good morning, Sky.
Good morning.
Good morning, Nancy. Okay.
Good morning.
So this is Nancy Toffanin, why don't you just briefly introduce yourself to everyone who's watching?
Hey, my name is Nancy Toffanin, and I live in Thunder Bay, Ontario. And I have been part of Dawn's program since 2014. And I am working on being an empowered woman and just being as clear of a conduit I can moving forward in life.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so thank you. Thank you for agreeing to be here and for doing this with me. What came to me, as you know, like Nancy was saying, so what are we going to talk about? Like, I do have all my questions, so it's not like I'm totally unprepared. But what I really want to do with this series is to allow myself to be a conduit. What does Spirit want us to share with other people? I do that with my blogs every morning. I really try and share things that I think can help people. So let's talk about being an awakened woman. Let's go back. So how many years, actually, let's just start, Nancy, with what does it mean to you to be an awakened woman?
To me, being an awakened woman is to see all of the trauma or life experiences or triggers that come up, and just being aware of how your body feels in different situations or different conversations. It's always upgrading your frequency and your vibration, and really really moving forward for your higher purpose and your life purpose. So I think for me, it's just being able to look at the world from different perspectives.
So I love that. And one of the key words I think I heard in there is accountability, right? It's about, when you're an awakened person, man or woman, the key, I think, for many of us is, do you take accountability for your actions? Do you look through that lens and review your own actions, do the forgiveness, feel what you need to feel rather than suppress it, but actually, feel it, move through it, and allow yourself to grow from that, just extract the darkness into the light and weave it together, right?
Yes, beautiful.
Yeah. That's kind of, what I think. So the other thing that I want to talk about, they were guiding me. For all of you to have a little chuckle is, so how many crystals do you have in your bra right now?
I have 4 in my bra, and then I have 7 in my pockets.
So you know, I laugh because it's true. You know, every time, you know, you're in the dating field, right? The one thing as an awakened woman is there you are digging your crystals out of your bra, you know, and you're just that gypsy soul, that seeker, you know, the woman who has confidence and grace and uses, you know, the treasures of Mother Earth to ground you, to amplify, and to attract what you need. So,
Great.
so
Yeah.
yes. Okay, so let's dive into the questions. Are you game? Are you game for
I'm
any of the
game.
questions?
Any questions?
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Okay, the first one that I'm drawn to here is, do you feel that age can affect a relationship?
What I feel about age is, I know that they say that it's just a number, right? So there's two sides of it. One is because I was thinking about this the other day because I had somebody message me that was in their 30s and asked me if that was a problem. And the interesting thing about age is it really depends emotionally where somebody's at. So it doesn't, I don't think the age is per se a problem because it's where they are emotionally, right? Like so some 30-year-olds could be like, maybe 50, right? And some, like I know when I was 16 or 15 or 20, I was probably way more advanced, in my thinking and my maturity, in a lot of different ways. So I think that would be, I think that would be a consideration. I personally want to date somebody 45 plus, but I guess it depends. If the connection was there and it was real and you felt it, then I would probably explore it to see what do I need to learn from this, or what insight can I get out of it.
I agree with you on that. Like, I agree that our souls, you know, are different vibrations according to what our life purpose is. So I agree with you. I feel that, you know, an example is my youngest daughter, Erin. You know, I feel like she's older than I am some days just because her soul is so wise and her purpose is here, you know, to help lift the vibration of the ascension. So I totally agree with you. Okay. What are two things that you have left on your bucket list?
I have lots of things, but the two things that I've left on my bucket list would be to go to Bali. I really want to go there. And I think the other thing I would have on my bucket list is to to travel to all the places where the sacred sites are, really go to all the sacred sites and really experience what they have to offer. Because now I'm at a different perspective. So it'd be nice to see some of these places from a different angle.
Yeah, that's really good. It's not just the visual, but it's the energetic component, you know,
Right.
which you know, when we went to Hawaii 2 years
Mhm.
ago now, that it was the energetic component, you know, of swimming with the dolphins, going to the Queen's Bath, really connecting to those sacred sites of the land and that energy. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Bali's amazing, by the way. Love Bali. I would go back there in a heartbeat with you. So
Okay, let's go.
I know, I know. So just know that. Okay. So the other thing I want to ask you is, we talked about this the other day. So I kind of want to sidebar there, in terms of, you know, you and I were laughing the other day because, you know, the thing is, when you have a network of intuitive girlfriends, I always say to myself, any man, you know, that comes into our lives to date us or to be in relationship with us, and maybe this is new for them, it's something that I feel um, is, what is the word? It's like you can't really slide anything under the carpet, right? Because if one person doesn't pick up on something that's not truth, the
Yes,
next
well,
girlfriend will. So I
yeah.
guess, what would you say to the men out there that are dating the awakened woman about trying to hide stuff under the carpet?
What I'd say is just be honest up front, just be vulnerable, be in your truth, stand in your power. And if that person judges you of what you say, then they're not the right person for you. They're not the right match. So you're just better to just be honest and lay it on the table, and and really listen to her, right? Because I found in the past that men would try to make you feel like you're crazy or you're dreaming things up or whatever it is. So really, telling the man that, you know what, I'm gonna know, or my friends might know. So just be upfront. So I think that's the best message for men, is just to step up and be upfront. No matter how hard it is, be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm. When I took a divorce course after I was divorced, and it was a spiritual flare with Howard Carey Parsons. And I remember him saying to me, he said the stats that he has seen is that most divorce is initiated by women, because women have that gut feeling. Women have that inner knowing that there's something better out there. And, I know you have been divorced also. So I guess what I want to ask you is, what is the greatest gift that you have received through wisdom in moving through your own divorce yourself?
I think the greatest gift I received is really listening to your inner body, really listening to what your intuition or your heart or your soul says. Because I think a lot of times we push down that voice. And so for me, the best thing for me was that. And I think the other thing is to have fun. I think it was like, I had a lot of fun in my marriage. And I think about, now in relationships, I'm looking for fun. And I'm looking for other things, but I'm looking for fun, that component, because it's just to let your hair down and just have fun. But yeah, it's definitely that inner knowing that we really need to step into that power.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So as an awakened woman, what do you feel has been your biggest shift? Do you feel it's been loving yourself, having confidence, heightening your intuition, or is it all of the above?
It's all of the above, but the biggest one was loving myself.
Mm-hmm.
I see now that I never did, right? In 2018 was the catalyst for me to really anchor in and love myself deeply. And what I found was, the deeper I loved myself, it just helped all areas of my life. It helped the confidence, it helped the self-worth, the self-esteem. So yeah, I'd have to say loving myself was probably the biggest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what do you feel? Because I agree with you. I believe, and I'm sure you can do the same. It's like when you look back at pictures of yourself before you loved
Mhm.
yourself, or you thought you loved yourself, good morning, Bev. You find that, you see that your molecular structure has shifted, right?
Right.
And, I shared this interview the other day that Carrie Anderson had shared at the Shine event, where she said, I went to use my face recognition, on my phone after she took the level 2 course, and it didn't even register on her phone because,
Wow.
your makeup of your cellular structure had shifted, because when you release energy, it allows you to hold a higher frequency. And as you hold that higher frequency, it actually is showing up through the cell phone recognition, whatever you may call it, to show that your structure has actually. What would you say with that? Have you noticed that your physical appearance has changed?
Yeah, I have actually. I've noticed that a lot of, I'm hearing some, I think it's not really, sorry, it's something with the connection, probably because of our weather. I'm hearing, I can hear our conversation from a minute ago. Weird. Okay. All right. I'm going to try to just tune that out and just listen to you right now. I think physically I have changed. Like when I see pictures, sometimes I have so much light around me, and I just look like so much physically lighter, like my skin tone and my energy. And I sometimes, like I remember taking a picture after I had a session with you, and I think it was 2019 or 2020, and I was like, oh my God, look at the way I look. Or even when after I did level 2, I took a picture at the keg, and it was just amazing because I could just see these big shifts. I'm gonna try to get rid of those our conversation or voices.
Yeah, your sound is okay on my end, so
Okay,
you're
so
good
that's
on
okay.
my end.
I'll just tune it out.
Yeah,
All right.
there's no delay here. I think it is the snowstorm.
Okay.
So when you began, Dee Dee said that sure hit home, and it's true. So, you know, I want to talk about self-love for a moment. I want to
Okay.
talk about, do you feel guilty at all for choosing yourself first now? And how, yeah, I know you're like, no, how did you move through that feeling of guilt for, loving yourself first? What tools did you use?
Okay, so I don't feel guilty anymore because what I really realized, and I learned through your program, was that the more I love myself and the deeper I get in this, is I can then help others because you can't pour from an empty cup. So if I am helping someone and it's out of guilt or obligation, then all I'm doing is giving them that frequency of guilt and obligation, and that's just not good for anyone. So now I really feel empowered in putting myself first, what my needs are, what my wants are. And I know in doing that, that I'm actually going to be able to help people even more because that I will be fulfilled inside, and that will help me just pour from a greater cup. What was the second part of that question? Sorry. Oh, the tools I
What to,
used.
yeah.
Right, the tools, sorry. What tools did I use? So I think my biggest self-love tools are, using the rose quartz heart. I really love the infinite love roll-on. I'll listen to chakra meditations for my heart. And really just telling myself every day that I love myself and really just being empowered in that and just loving myself. I think I'm finally at the point now. Even I gained 10 pounds during COVID, and I was thinking the other day, I really don't care. Like, I really am accepting myself finally for who I am. And I think that just helps you love yourself more. And then you're able to really just have that vibration go out. But yeah, I think it's definitely music and writing and journaling and crystals and nice Dead Sea salt baths and just really amping up the self care.
And so, I always say, be gone with the obligation vibration, right? Which is a term that I coined back with Mother Mary, a few years ago in working with self-love, is that, we've been programmed, whether through watching the females, in our lives or our own self-worth, that we need to carry a vibration of guilt or shame if we as mothers put ourselves first, or women. And what we've been learning, like you were just saying, is that you can't pour from an empty cup, and you truly can't. Like, you truly have to fill yourself up and allow that vibration to sort of ripple out to those around you, and you're helping yourself and everyone around you. And I think that's key. Like, I see Shannon's on here, and she's a frontline worker down east, and she's got her own. I did a session with her last week, and she was talking about how hard it is being a frontline worker and how there's so much stress, which
Yes.
I feel it's important to have this conversation, that we need to really abolish, the guilt or the vibration of feeling awkward or guilty for putting ourselves first. That is so old paradigm, and now we need to move forward. Okay, so very good answer with the crystals, doing meditation, exercising,
Yeah.
eating good foods, doing things that you love to do. When you do
Yeah.
something good, it allows your heart to continue that vibration internally. So,
Right.
okay, good question. Okay, so here's another question. How is dating, well, I have in your 40s, but I know you're in your 50s, and I am hanging on the hair of my chinny chin chin here. So how is dating in your 50s different than when you were dating in your 20s?
Okay. Well, in my 20s, I was dating the same man and was about to get married. So I had more experience in my teens. But I think it was easier in my teenage years than it is now, only in the sense that if a man asked you out, you just knew that you were his girlfriend and it was just a done deal. And now there's a lot of game playing in dating, and you don't know, like, are you seeing each other? Are you dating? Are you friends with benefits? Like, what are you? There's just so many labels. And so I find dating nowadays harder. But it's actually harder when you're an awakened woman because, you have so many filters and you have so many things come up when you're dating someone because you, you really can see through the bullshits, or you can see through what they're lying about or what they're saying. And then also you're looking for somebody that is awakened and somebody who is ready to step up. And so I think that's what the difference is. When we're younger, we're able to just go with the flow more and be in ease. When we're older, we have a certain list of requirements that some of them have to be met for sure. And the important ones that are whatever's important to you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, and it's that wisdom, right? It's the confidence. Like, I find the older I get, the more confident. And you're right. It's like you can see through the veil of the bullshit. It's like, are you playing? Are you staying? Like, what are you doing here? Because when you date an awakened woman, you better be prepared, A, to be accountable, B, to know that she's going to know if you have the veil of bullshit, and C, that the growth is going to be infinite, right? Like, it's like once you've harnessed the energy of awakening and you have that solid community of girlfriends who support you, your tribe per se, what you do is you've got that foundation, and you continue to grow and to ascend and evolve. And it's like, if you don't have that right match as your partner, you're gonna have some tuck and rolls, right?
Yeah.
Where you're tucking and you're rolling out of the circle and you start again. And the cool thing that I want to say, as a woman who was dating an awakened woman, is that when you have the support, like you and all my other girlfriends here that are listening and around, it's like you have the support to continue moving forward in finding a match that fits you perfectly. Whereas before, in the past, it might have been a vibration of, let's have a cup of coffee and let's gossip about what's going on. And, let's complain about our relationships. Whereas now it's up-leveled the whole thing, where it's none of that. It's like, your girlfriend will hold space for you if you're having a few bumps, but she's not going to be afraid to say to you, you know what, honey, you deserve better. Get your ass out of this and get out there and find another fish in the sea, because, this one is dead and it's sinking to the bottom, right?
I love that.
It's true, though.
I know. There's plenty of fish in the sea, but just don't go after the dead ones.
Well, and I'm sure there's men that can say the same thing about the women, but I feel like, as women, sometimes we're not afraid to be vulnerable. And I feel like men are slowly coming onto that path where, they're looking for something deeper, because they recognize the fact that, that growth is good, right?
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's go to the taboo section, if you're willing.
Okay. Of course.
Okay. 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 When did you last cry, and what was it about?
Interesting. What was the last time I cried? Mm-hmm. Sure, pick a hard one. Okay. When was the last time I cried? Probably I'd have to say in the fall, after I realized that my relationship didn't have the potential that I thought it was going to have. And I realized the person wasn't going to be able to step up. So I probably say then was the last time I cried over it. And it was, really good to release that. And now I'm just in more flow about it. But that's the last time I cried, was last fall.
Mm. Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Okay. If you won the lottery tomorrow, would you still work in the field that you're working in now?
Yeah, I would, for sure. 100%. No questions asked. All it would do is actually just help me, do my business and do my teachings and travel. And it would just give me the freedom to do everything I want to do with my life purpose and my soul purpose. So all it would do is amp it up and just give me just the no worry, right? And just be stress free. And I still would do what I'm doing now, for sure. Just at an amped up level.
And, I love that answer, because to me, that shows that you're following your passion, that you truly are in your heart space, and, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. When you ask people that question, I find that don't love what they're doing, they think they can just, sort of fake it until you end up retiring. But I've seen so many people who end up dying, right at retirement or right after, because they have been on this path that didn't align, with what their true passion was. So I feel like that's really important, to follow your passion, and just trust that the money, the resources will flow with you in alignment.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay. Next question. What is a deal? This is relationships. Okay. So what is a deal breaker for you in a relationship? And I'm talking about personal, intimate relationship.
Okay. So you're not talking about like smoking or height,
any of that.
I mean? Yeah, I think for me, smoking is a big thing. It's really a deal breaker. I don't want that. And so smoking for sure. And height, I'm working through it, but I am 5'10". So I do like a man that's like taller than I am. So I think those two are deal breakers for sure. And on the emotional level, someone who's not willing to work through their things, like, just really not really looking at their traumas or their childhood. And so someone that just has the blocks, knows that they have them, and doesn't want to work on them, but that would probably be a deal breaker too.
And I think it's good that you even know what your deal breakers are. I've had so many people that I'll go on a date with, and I'll say to them, what are your red flags? What are your deal breakers? And they're like, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm looking for. And I'm like, well, that's kind of the blind leading the blind, right? It's like you go out there in the ocean with this blindfold on, hoping that you don't get attacked by a shark, right? I mean, that's deep trust, I guess. But I would rather have my intention and know what my red flags are, so that I can weed out, what I need to before I go further.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, so Shannon says on here, I had a coworker who retired in November. The same evening she had a stroke. Yeah. Oh, see, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. I mean, thanks for sharing that, Shannon. But that's exactly what I see. And I even saw that in my mother-in-law, Shannon, which I know you know. It was like she didn't really get to retire or go to the ocean as much as she wanted to, because she was waiting until she retired. And so, I've always learned that whether you're saving the fancy silk lingerie or the china in your cupboard, or, don't save things, enjoy them, do it now, enjoy your life now, because in the present moment is your gift. Right. So do you do that, Nancy? Do you use the china? Do you use the sexy lingerie, or are you saving any of that stuff for a day down the road?
So this is my belief system, is that I need to romance myself. So I buy myself flowers, and I use nice china, and I have heart-shaped placemats, and I do it all for myself, because if I want to attract that vibration of a relationship, I believe I need to do it all for myself and show myself the love, because then when I'm in a relationship, that's only going to help the relationship. So Yes, I wear the sexy lingerie and I take nice baths and I'll light candles and, and I'll put coconut oil all over my body and I'll just do all these things that make me feel good. But for sure, I don't save any of it because I think that helps you to attract it and bring it in if you're doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I totally agree with you. It's like people will often think you have to be in a relationship or you have to, but the thing is loving yourself, do what makes you feel good, right? Do those things, have that bath, wear something that makes you feel good from the inside out. That's what truly shifts your vibration. Okay, Shannon said that's why we need to go to Thailand. Absolutely.
Yes, agreed.
We will go to Thailand. I absolutely have no doubt that we will be doing that trip.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's choose the taboo section again.
Okay.
Have you ever been in love with someone and never told them?
Yes, probably twice in my lifetime. And the first time I was in love with someone and I met him 3 years ago and I never told him because it wasn't for his highest good. It wasn't information that he needed. He probably would have been freaked out about it. So I did it more for him. I didn't do it. And the second time, I said it to the person, but then I changed it. So it was an accidental oops. And then was like, oh my God, what did I say? And actually changed it to make it into something else. And because so yeah, twice, I didn't really say it for sure in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I always ask that question because sometimes we don't say things and then we regret them. And sometimes we do say things and we regret that too. And we think, oh my, absolutely. Okay, so let's skip on over here to what was your favorite childhood memory as a girl growing up?
My favorite childhood memory.
Mm-hmm.
I have a few of them. So I'm probably gonna pick one of my neighbors. He had bunnies. And I mean, I won't say what he did with the bunnies because that part wasn't a favorite childhood memory. But before that part, we got to play with the bunnies all the time. So we'd always have bunnies running around in our yard, and we had a really big hill. So it was probably playing with the rabbits and just having fun and being carefree. And sometimes they would escape and we'd be playing hide and go seek in the beanstalks and we'd find a rabbit. So we had to go bring it back. But yeah, it was probably playing with the bunnies. But I have a lot of childhood memories, but that was fun.
Mm-hmm. So specifically, because you have very strong Italian roots, which I always find fascinating, right? Just the Italian, lineage that runs through you. What is something that you did as a family that was particular to being Italian, maybe that other families didn't do?
So I don't really remember anything Italian besides maybe things like not eating fish on Fridays, but that's more of a Catholic. Well, Italians are Roman Catholic, so that's more of a Catholic thing, only having fish on Fridays or celebrating every occasion with family. So that would be a total European thing. So as a family, we did things like that. I have to admit that my parents became more Canadianized being here. So we used to ice fish, and we used to go blueberry picking with my mom while my dad hunted. And, we used to play cards every Saturday or every Sunday. We played cards with money, with coins and pennies, I think. And I remember that as a kid. So every Sunday we would have a family day. So that probably is because my parents came here and they only knew my dad's uncle in Thunder Bay and his family. They knew no one else. And so they had a sense of strong family ties here because that's all they had, right? Was family. So we really were into doing things with family all the time. So that's probably an Italian traditional thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that. I feel family is so important, right? And yeah. No, I see that in you, and I see you know, even the loyalty and the strong connection that you have to your parents being older, and, you know, the things that you do. Love you, Shannon. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Shannon.
Yeah. Okay. So let's skip over to spirituality now.
Sure.
What actions, well, we kind of talked about, what does spirituality mean to you?
Spirituality means to me, interesting. It means a lot of things. I think one of the things it means to me is, you know, the tool is having a toolbox that we can dip down into, whether it's crystals, meditation, that there's that line of it. Then there's the other line of it where I look at the positive thinking and the gratitude and the, you know, almost the Buddha lifestyle, right? So I think about that when I think of spirituality. I think it's always opening up your crown chakra and your third eye and becoming more aware of your intuition and more aware of any blocks that you have in your body. But spirituality is such a broad term, I find, you know, could mean so many things, right? To so many people. So for me, I think it means the having a toolbox with all the things that I need, you know, working on myself. So working to make sure that I'm clear, working to make sure that my crown chakra is open, and just being aware if I have any blocks in my body, and also looking to see, you know, I ask every day, how can I be of service? If I wasn't spiritual, I wouldn't do that, right? So looking to see what comes up on a daily basis that I need to address. So I think that's what spirituality means to me, is just being open to what shows up, and, you know, and not creating a block with it, just going with it. And yeah, I think that's it.
And it is a broad term. That's why I asked that question, because I love that each person that I interview and ask that question has a different response. I find, and it's true. Like, I agree with you. To me, it's having that crown chakra open, you know, and even those of you that are listening and maybe don't even know what a chakra is, you don't even need to know. It's kind of, what is your connection to where you came from? You know, we sort of call that your source, or, you know, that divine connection, and the energy runs in through the crown chakra.
Right.
So, okay. Thank you. The next question that I have is, have you ever had an addiction? If so, how did you overcome it?
So I've had a few addictions in my lifetime. So after my marriage, I went through a spell of depression, and then one of my coping mechanisms became alcohol. So I actually was a weekend alcoholic for a while, and that just came up with a lot of different things. But the interesting part is I was really addicted at the same time to exercise. I was the kind of person that would exercise 7 days a week, and if somebody talked to me at the gym, I would actually go back that night and redo my exercise. You know, it was just, I was a perfectionist. It had to be perfect. So what ended up happening was I started gaining weight, you know, because I was drinking every weekend, you know, 13 to 15 drinks a night. And that's how I overcame the addiction. Was I was like, oh my goodness, like, what's going on here? You know, I'm drinking all this alcohol and it's showing up in my body. So I actually went to my doctor and said, look, I have a drinking problem. And she's like, well, how much are you drinking? And I said, 13 to 15 drinks. And she's like, a week? I'm like, no, a night, you know, from Wednesday to Sunday. And I was still coping. I was working full time, and my boss didn't know, and nobody even knew what I was going through, because, you know, I just had that, I've always had that energy that I could just do whatever it is in front of me and not be, you know, one of those people at home in bed hungover. So that's how I got over the addiction, was just realizing this didn't serve me. And, you know, now I can go and drink a bottle of wine or 2 bottles of wine, or I can have 1 glass. It really doesn't affect me. So I'm really grateful that it didn't become a coping mechanism for life. I'm really aware of coping mechanisms, but I'd have to say that that's how I overcame it. I didn't like what it was doing to me.
And I want to add to that, because I can say the same thing. When I went through my divorce and I went through all that change, I thought to myself, okay, Velvet On, you have 2 options here. You could become an alcoholic, and you could drink to suppress how awful and painful this is. but then I'm not a good drinker. I am not,
Yeah.
I cannot drink a lot of alcohol. I tend to, it affects me very adversely. So I have to make sure I eat before I drink any alcohol, but it made me feel, it lowered my vibration. And so I didn't go that route. I think when I was going through the most painful time in my divorce, one of them, Patty and I were in Hawaii, and we drank mimosas in the morning. And by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I was like in bed and I was a wreck. And I remember it was that moment. It was the one time, and I thought, I feel terrible. And the alcohol has amplified all of the yucky emotions that I feel: alone, depressed, abandoned, scared, anxious. And I thought, this is what you're going to get, but more of, if you want to continue doing this to get through your divorce. And so I never, ever drank to that extent again, because I knew I just couldn't physically do it. And I know not everyone has the tools, but I love that you shared authentically with that and said you went to your doctor and you were honest, because it's like when you share, that deep, dark secret, and you get the support of someone externally, it really helps you know that you're accountable to somebody else for your actions. But of course, if you have, a disease, sometimes you need something greater than that, right? So,
yes, for sure.
Okay.
Agreed.
I love that. I love how authentic you were there. Okay. Do you feel the actual numeric age that you are?
No, not even close. I forget. Like the other day, I was like, "Am I turning 51 in July or 52?" Like I really don't remember. I think I'm turning 52, but I don't remember. But honestly, like no, I don't feel like I'm in my 50s. I still feel. I think I still am in that fun energy of my 20s, and I feel somewhere between 20 and 35. Like I just feel like my energy level and what I want to do. Yeah, so I'm gonna say no, I don't.
So what age do you feel like you are?
Well, just because of my wisdom, I can't go too young. So I'm gonna say probably I feel like I'm around 40, because I think at 40, around 40, 42 is when I got divorced. And I feel like that's when I really started looking more into my spiritual roots and, doing more meditation. So I'm gonna say around like 38, 40, that's how I kind of feel, but maybe even 35, just because I like where I was at that point in my life. In my first part of my 30s, I was really kind of a wreck. So I have to go above that. So I'm going to say 38 is a good number.
I love that. And I always ask that question because I really feel like, yes, we go by the calendar, but the truth of the matter is, I feel like the more that we shed energetically, the younger we look and the lighter we feel. Mm-hmm. So that is a very good question. Okay. Next question. Do you feel confident enough to ask for what your needs are? So this could be in a friendship, it could be in a relationship, it could be in your job.
So I do. A relationship, I'd have to see the next time I'm in one. But my last relationship that I got out of in 2018, I didn't feel confident enough. In the last year, my confidence grew with the man I was seeing. I actually would say to him, I need to see you. And so I feel like I am more able now to speak my truth and say what I need in a relationship. So I'd have to say yes, but honestly, I'm not in a relationship, so I don't know. But I know in the past year and a half, I was able to say, this is what I need. And then the person stepped up, because you just said, this is what I need. And then they stepped up to meet me. But yes, with my family, I tell them what I need, or my friends in work. I'm pretty open and honest. I tell people what I need. So I feel like the answer is yes. I'm very authentic in all areas of my life.
Well, and I feel like, I almost wish that I had this confidence when I was 16, right? I wish that I could take, you know, the confidence back to that age, right?
Yes.
I wish it didn't take us so long to, you know, understand what we have internally. That I wish I could change, right? Which is why I'm passionate about the Goddess Girl program, is just teaching young girls, you know, that to be confident just as you are. So in going back to that question, what advice would you give your 16-year-old self now?
I think I would say release all judgment of yourself. Like, just let go of the judgment. You know, really just accept yourself for who you are, be in your truth and be in your power. And, you know, don't listen to other people. Just listen to your own inner voice. And when I mean that, I'm not talking about somebody that's empowered and is helping you to empower. I mean, you know, the people that are trying to push you down, whether it's your own ego voice or other people's that, you know, don't want you to succeed. So I think I would tell her just to love herself and accept herself for who she is, and really be comfortable in her own skin and just stand in your truth and just be authentic. You know, it really, I think those are the best advice. Really work, because that's going to help her with confidence, her self-esteem, her self-worth. It's going to help her love herself. And, you know, that true acceptance is what's really going to help bring her to the older years, the wisdom years.
Yeah, that's really, really good advice, actually. It's, you know, turning that energy back inside versus external, the peer pressure, you know, pleasing others, social media. I can't even imagine being a teenager and having, you know, Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram and TikTok, like having all these different apps, right? As a mom, you know, having a 17-year-old daughter, that's kind of how I keep on top of what is the latest app, how do we communicate, you know, and educating myself on this different mode. It can be difficult. So, okay, we'll have one more question, and then we're at our time. So I want, okay, so yes, okay, good one. So we had this question the other day when I was talking to Dwayne Clausen about romance. So I want to ask you that question. You know, what does romance mean to you?
Okay, so romance means to me, I was thinking about romance, and when I was listening to that interview, I was thinking about romance, and I realized that romance is one of my love languages. You know, it's definitely physical touch and words of affirmation, and it's also that quality time. But to me, romance is a love language, because if I'm putting an effort in my relationship and I'm showing the person romance and they're doing the romance for me. So I think what romance means to me is someone, you know what, helping is helping you feel special. So whether it's drawing a bath or making a nice dinner for you, or bringing you a cup of coffee in bed, or holding your hand when you go into the movie theater, or opening up a car door for you. It's like, you know, and I think women should do it for men too. I don't think it should just be a one-way street. I think it should be an equal. But I think what romance means to me is really because to me, I think it means that it's really showing someone that you truly care about them, that you really are caring about them physically and like on all different levels. It's that nurturing aspect. And, I talk to couples that have been married for 20 years. Sorry. And they're not happy in their relationships. And what I find is that, you know, that will be the one key piece that they say is that their husband isn't romantic or doesn't do things for them or doesn't, you know, bring the romance into the relationship. And I find that super interesting to me, because I really feel like as women that we really, it's something we all love. I haven't met a woman that would say, I hate romance. Maybe they don't like a lot of romantic gestures, but I think, you know, all women will find something that they like that could be romantic from a man or from themselves.
I agree with you. I love what you said, that romance is, it's the little gestures, right? It's not, it doesn't have to be big and grandiose. Of course, you know, that might be someone's love language too, but For me, romance is about intertwining the day-to-day life tasks, you know, that end up, you know, at the end of the night, right? Where, you know, maybe it is opening the door, like you say, or it's leaving a little sticky note somewhere that says, you know, I miss you, right? Or it's the things that are unexpected. Hi, Harish. She says, Val, good one. I'm present. Yes, thanks for watching. Harish is from India.
Oh, cool.
And he actually received the very first book that I ever wrote when I wrote Ancient Secrets of the Goddesses. I mailed it to India. Yeah. So it's nice to have you here, Harish. So absolutely, romance, I feel, is exactly what you said. It's necessary. It's a vital part to stoke that, you know, flame of the chemistry and to keep it burning. You know, the other thing I want to ask you this has been on my mind lately, is do you feel that the honeymoon period in a relationship, that it has an expiry date?
You know, unfortunately, in everything I've experienced in my life, it has an expiry date. But I think that's what the gift is of the different perspectives. Is yes, people will say it's the honeymoon period, and you know it has an expiry date. But I invite you to amp it up, you know, and be in that passion and just, you know what, keep it going because there's no reason that it should have an expiry date. You know, I know it does, but I think we can change that. I think that might be an old paradigm, that why can't you make someone feel special 5 years later, 10 years later? Because it's really the simple things, you know? Like I had a client say to me a few months ago that her husband and her had gone to a movie, and she grabbed her husband's hand, and they hadn't had held hands in a long time, and he just looked at her and smiled with the biggest smile. And I went, wow. So it's just, I think it's something that if you communicate that's both of your love languages and you find that it's something that's essential for a relationship, because it means that you're both putting in effort. That's what the thing is. You're putting in effort and you're being accountable. I really truly believe that, you know what, this is something that you can have. And I think it's a necessary tool or tools to keep the passion, to keep the magic, to keep the relationship alive. Just knowing, hey, I'm present, I'm here. You know, I'm doing this, you know, opening up a lunch and find a little love note, a little sticky tab, right? I used to do that when I was married. So just looking at those things and doing them for sure.
And also it lets you know that you matter, you know,
Yes,
that your existence
100%.
matters. You know, Oprah always says that. She always says, all people want to know in life is that we see you and you matter, right? And it's simple, but yet sometimes we just get so stuck in our own emotions, our own fear, that we can't even, our awareness of our surroundings just becomes so narrow, and we have those blinders on that sometimes we forget. And so I'm going to pull back to the self-love key, that when you love yourself and you keep that awareness open, it allows you to be more aware of those around you, because the vibration of nourishing your own soul is present. You know, it's the gift that keeps on giving. So truly.
Agreed. Truly. Yeah. And, you know, and I think the hard part too for women is, you know, we clean the house and we cook dinners and we have children and husbands and all these things. So it makes it really hard with the romance thing. But that's why, you know, just letting people know, even just putting something on a sticky note, or just at the end of the day, just sitting on the couch beside your partner. So maybe, you know, for a lot of people, it can't be these big dates or these big things, but just letting someone know that you care, that you are there, or just listening to that story that you heard a millionth time that drives you crazy, because you have to listen to it. Because the thing is one day there's going to be a woman sitting across from him that's going to listen to that story. Unfortunately, there might be. So just remember, listen to that story and just put in the effort. That's it.
Good point. That's a good point. It's like, if you're not going to be present and the gratitude isn't there, you know, chances are there will be someone in that spot who will have that. So very good point.
Yes.
All right. Well, we are at the end of our time here on #Wisdom Weaver Wednesday. And I just truly, Nancy, I want to thank you for your insight, you know, your wisdom, for being an awakened woman, for being an amazing friend in my life, and for sharing the light and the wisdom that you do. You know, do you want to just share a little bit for people about where they can find you?
Yeah, I think my Instagram is Nancy D Val, and my Facebook business page is Bella Luna, and my website is www.bellalunathunder.com. And yeah, no, on Facebook I'm Nancy Toffanin. So if you want to add me, you can. Just let me know that you know Belvedon, and that's about it. And I want to thank, I see some men on here that I know from Thunder Bay and from Ontario, and I want to thank them for being on, and for all the women that are my friends, and you know, just thank you for listening. And yeah, that's it. And thank you, Belvedon. This has been a great hour.
Yes, thank you. Margarita says, well done, goddesses. Love you. Love you too. Hi,
Yes,
Stu.
love you too.
Truly. So thank you to everyone for listening live, and for those of you that are going to be you know, listening, you know, to the replay. I truly appreciate you, and I really, my intention for doing hashtag Wisdom Wednesday is to really bring awareness to everyday you know, things in life that we can use to weave our wisdom together and to become a brighter, more expanded collective human culture. So have an amazing Wednesday, everyone. I will see you back here next Wednesday on hashtag Wisdom Weaver. Until then, have an amazing week, everybody. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you. Thank you.